Going through the emails, there were over 60,000 in total sent and received. About half were work-related and went to the State Department, and about half were personal, that were not in any way related to my work. I had no reason to save them.
Our guest solved the issue of my not being an attorney and just playing one on TV. Christian Berg is the Deputy General Counsel for Citizens United. We'll talk about their suit in a moment. And here in the studio, Bruce Reinhart is a former federal prosecutor, now co-chair of Government Compliance and Investigations for the national law firm McDonald Hopkins. Gentlemen, I thank you both for being here. You, of course, in the studio, and of course, via Skype as well. Let's get right to it here, and I'm going to hit this with you from a legal standpoint first. Did Hillary Clinton break any laws?
Not that we've heard of yet. At this point, we don't know. We're going to have to let some more facts come out. If there's classified informations in emails or other security information that was put through the private email system as opposed to the government email system, that's going to be a problem for her. Or if they destroyed emails that shouldn't have been destroyed, that's going to be a problem.
So what would be that trigger then that would immediately say somebody, we got a case?
Classified information, information that's top secret, information that's otherwise protected, or, as I said, obstruction of justice, destruction of evidence that shouldn't have been destroyed.
All right, Christian, let me get to you because I understand Citizens United, you now have a lawsuit that has been filed here. Tell us a little bit about what you've got.
We certainly do. We at Citizens United, we've been fighting for the last year to obtain documents related to Hillary Clinton's time at the State Department. We filed 18 FOIA requests with the State Department, and after months and months and months of receiving nothing from them, we finally decided to go to court. So last December, we filed a lawsuit seeking information about Secretary Clinton's foreign trips.
Why have we not seen all this information before? That's what the American people will ask.
That's an excellent question. I mean, certainly we understand that the FOIA process helps us hold the government accountable. We understand that we can request these records from the government to keep them honest. So far, the State Department has given us nothing. In over a year, we've received 0 documents from them.
Let me get to you now, Bruce, and turn on something else, because we've heard about Hillary Clinton here. We know all about these emails. What about this other underlying issue here, and that is the possibility that other monies have come to the Clinton Foundation from foreign governments, from foreign folks that may not be exactly above board. How much of a focus do you think this is going to be? And is this maybe an easier case, and I use the words easier in quotes, for the government or somebody to prove?
Again, I'm not sure that's a legal case as much as a political case in the short term. It's going to depend who the groups are. It's going to depend who their affiliations are. Certainly, there's a lot of foreign government groups that have ties to organizations that are boycotted by the United States, embargoed by the United States, otherwise barred from trading or having communications with the U.S. government. So until we dig a little deeper into what those organizations are, I don't know if it's an easier case or a harder case, or if it's a case at all, but that's where they're going to have to look.
Do cases like these have merit, though? You think merit going forward, certainly like what Citizens United is doing and the Associated Press basically suing as well?
Well, certainly the FOIA process is problematic. The government, I served in the government for 20 years. FOIA is never a priority. Doesn't matter who's in power. It's just not viewed by the government as something important, and it should be, because I don't think it's appreciated how important, as our other guest said, how important it is to keeping government accountable. So I think the FOIA process is very important. I think what Citizens United is doing and the AP is doing is very important, and those kind of cases need to be brought. The problem is most people don't have the resources to do it, and that's why the process never moves forward.
Christian, let me get it to you. I got about a minute left here. What are you hoping to get forward? What are you hoping to prove and let the American people see here?
Right now, we're trying to get information about who Secretary Clinton went on these foreign trips with. We want to know whether Clinton Foundation donors traveled the world with her on the taxpayers' dime.
Do you believe, and this is just a personal question to you, that this will have any effect whatsoever on voters who may look at Mrs. Clinton as a possible president?
I certainly think it might. I mean, when we look back over the record the Clintons have had over the last 3 decades in public service, we've seen a lot of things occur. We've seen they've previously, their Commerce Secretary, he would fly large-scale DNC donors around the country. on the government's dime. We think it may have happened again, and I think that's a story worth telling to the American people.
Bruce, do you think that we're just seeing the beginning of lawsuits here, and people are going to find new and exciting ways, I think, here to try and discredit Mrs. Clinton?
I think so, but for good reason. Again, people should be held accountable. If Mrs. Clinton or Secretary Clinton had foreign donors on planes for government business or was using government resources to further private interests, that's a serious issue, and that needs to be held accountable.
And we are always talking about holding politicians accountable these days. Christian Berg, I want to thank you so much for joining us. We will follow up with you here in the coming weeks and see how the lawsuit goes here. Bruce, thanks so much for being in the studio.
Thanks for having me.
Pleasure. We'll see you again soon. All right. There is usually no greater big dollar backer for the Dems than the Hollywood glitterati. So will they still shovel the bucks at Hillary? That's next on MidPoint.